When Heinrich Schliemann first presented his firmly held convictions to the world in the 1870s, that the heroes of the Trojan War were not, in fact, pure myth, but real people of flesh and blood, who'd inhabited genuine places that could still be found. The vast majority of scholars and readers alike looked on with skepticism and disdain. And yet, sure enough, as the years went by, ever stranger similarities with the myths in archaeology, and even in the written archive of the Hittite palatial system, continued to lend weight to his hypotheses. If not, his often destructive methods of excavation. First Mycenae, then Troy, Pylos, Sparta, and Thebes were pinpointed as likely locations for the mythic tales. Today, the list grows ever longer. One, though, since the very first known attempts to track it down all the way back in the 3rd century BC, has thus far eluded everyone. The homeland of perhaps the most famous Homeric hero of all. The one to give Homer's sequel to the Trojan War its name: Odysseus. Though more outlandish commenters have sought to place Odysseus' realm of Ithaca, and even Troy, well outside of the Aegean, in Italy, or even Britain, based on the literary evidence of Homer and the known archaeology of Bronze Age Greece, Odysseus' power base is most widely assumed to have been located on an island off the northwest coast of the Greek mainland. And yet, despite more than 2,000 years of trying, it is still by no means definitively located. In the 3rd century BC, Eratosthenes, the famous philosopher and chief librarian at the Great Library of Alexandria, was known to have speculated on the location of Ithaca. His conclusions not being too dissimilar to those most recently put forward just in the 21st century. Likewise, after a number of other speculations by ancient writers, Roman historian Strabo gave it his best attempt. By the 19th century, some 1800 years later, the likes of William Gell, William Leake, and Schliemann's colleague and successor Wilhelm Dörpfeld would all do the same. As far as these scholars of the Gilded Age were concerned, the latter actually carrying out several archaeological investigations at various locations too. Ithaca lay in plain sight, located or on nearby Ithaca Island, which still bears a variation of the name Ithaca today. More recently, other writers have hypothesized the nearby islands of Kefalonia and Vathi as equally valid hypotheses. As Dörpfeld clearly demonstrated, lands of very real Bronze Age archaeology, with many sites showing an abundance of Mycenaean remains. The largest of the islands, Kefalonia, has a remarkable archaeology, with a story going back more than 40,000 years, deep into the Paleolithic past. With a population today of over 35,000, it is the most densely populated of the islands, with an abundance of Roman remains stressing its importance in antiquity too. The population was much higher in the past, having steadily declined since the 1800s. A disastrous earthquake in 1953 was the final end for a good deal of its people. Some doing what their ancestors may have also done in hard times. Moving on. Like many islanders, ever focused on their own past, perhaps the most prosperous era of all was the Mycenaean Age. The mighty Tholos tomb excavated by Lazarus Kolonas in 1991 at Poros on the southeast of the island, being the largest ever discovered in northwest Greece. A tomb very much fit for a king. Built in around 1300 BC, more or less the time of the Trojan War. Though a corresponding town has so far eluded archaeologists. Most recently, the northwestern region of Paliki, now a peninsula, has been suggested as Ithaca by authors such as Robert Bittlestone. Based on the writings of Strabo and on geological research, in the late Bronze Age, this location is thought to have been an island. Unfortunately, the 3-year dig that followed in 2007 came up with inconclusive results. Discovering the remains of a settlement at Paliki thus remains but a possibility for future archaeologists. Finally, we have the island of Ithaca itself. With a tiny population of less than 3,000, it is the second smallest of the 7 main Ionian islands. Inhabited since at least the 4th millennium BC, based largely on the name of the island, remaining apparently unchanged since ancient times, Ithaca has long been the favoured candidate for the location of Odysseus' capital. And of course, largely invisible perhaps to ancient scholars, today we have a good deal of archaeology to back up the written arguments. Oral traditions, most obviously resulting in Homer's Odyssey, claim Ithaca as one of the foremost Greek powers in the Age of Heroes. Its access to the sea being the facet that gave it its influence and reputation. As a home to able seafarers, navigators and explorers. Since the first excavations in the early 20th century though, a great palatial complex has thus far eluded scholars. The island is nonetheless unique, possessing remains from all periods of prehistoric archaeology since the Neolithic. Notably, traces of walls, roads and buildings being found from as early as the early Helladic in the 3rd millennium BC. By the Mycenaean era, all these developments would coalesce into a flourishing society. Most obviously seen at the remains of Loisos cave in Polis, and at Aitos, where a good deal of Mycenaean evidence is followed by that of the Geometric Age. If Odysseus's palace ever really did exist, it has thus far defied discovery. Like the location of Agade and the decipherment of the Indus Valley script, remaining one of the great mysteries of prehistoric archaeology, and a wellspring for books and documentaries. It is a secret that may well be unlocked by future generations. If you enjoyed this brief exploration into the Mycenaean world, here's another 6.5 hours I made earlier, covering the entire rise and fall of that most ancient of Greek civilizations. Just click the link here and it'll take you to my main channel, History Time. Thanks, and see you next time.